Los accidentes ocurren mucho y tienen graves consecuencias para las víctimas, el tiempo, el dinero y la eficiencia de los negocios. Ahora puede contar con Crashbox, un servicio de gestión de riesgo del vehículo altamente fiable que envía alertas instantáneas de choque, informes detallados de reconstrucción de accidentes y estimaciones predictivas de daños físicos en tiempo casi real. Aunque muchos accidentes no llegan a declararse, Crashbox brinda notificaciones automatizadas con un 99% de confiabilidad en el momento del impacto y proporciona una clasificación de severidad del choque y un informe detallado del incidente, de modo que las empresas puedan enviar ayuda de emergencia directamente al lugar del choque y agilizar proactivamente el proceso de reparación. Para un mejor entendimiento, el informe de reconstrucción de accidentes colabora en la investigación para ayudar a verificar la exactitud del informe de choque del conductor, posibilitar una más exitosa subrogación y mitigar el fraude. Las estimaciones predictivas de daños en tiempo casi real permiten a las empresas enviar el servicio adecuado, al lugar adecuado, en el momento adecuado, para mejorar la clasificación y ahorrar tiempo y dinero. Apoyado en décadas de conocimiento de la industria y la telemática de vehículos, ingeniería de sistemas de seguridad para vehículos de fabricación original y gestión de riesgos, Crashbox se ha granjeado elogios por parte de expertos de la industria y la confianza de las empresas. Los accidentes siempre ocurrirán. Crashbox lo ayuda a administrarlos mejor para reducir costos, mitigar el fraude y habilitar nuevos servicios. Visite calamp.com/Crashbox para obtener más información. Los accidentes ocurren mucho y tienen graves consecuencias para las víctimas, el tiempo, el dinero y la eficiencia de los negocios. Ahora puede contar con Crashbox, un servicio de gestión de riesgo del vehículo altamente fiable que envía alertas instantáneas de choque, informes detallados de reconstrucción de accidentes y estimaciones predictivas de daños físicos en tiempo casi real. Aunque muchos accidentes no llegan a declararse, Crashbox brinda notificaciones automatizadas con un 99% de confiabilidad en el momento del impacto y proporciona una clasificación de severidad del choque y un informe detallado del incidente, de modo que las empresas puedan enviar ayuda de emergencia directamente al lugar del choque y agilizar proactivamente el proceso de reparación. Para un mejor entendimiento, el informe de reconstrucción de accidentes colabora en la investigación para ayudar a verificar la exactitud del informe de choque del conductor, posibilitar una más exitosa subrogación y mitigar el fraude. Las estimaciones predictivas de daños en tiempo casi real permiten a las empresas enviar el servicio adecuado, al lugar adecuado, en el momento adecuado, para mejorar la clasificación y ahorrar tiempo y dinero. Apoyado en décadas de conocimiento de la industria y la telemática de vehículos, ingeniería de sistemas de seguridad para vehículos de fabricación original y gestión de riesgos, Crashbox se ha granjeado elogios por parte de expertos de la industria y la confianza de las empresas. Los accidentes siempre ocurrirán. Crashbox lo ayuda a administrarlos mejor para reducir costos, mitigar el fraude y habilitar nuevos servicios. Visite calamp.com/Crashbox para obtener más información.
Do you speak German, Austin?
No, nothing. Only Dank.
Dank. That's a good word to know.
Yeah.
I know danke in many languages. Obrigado, gracias, merci, danke. Shukran. Hola, Manuel.
Buenos días. Good morning. How are you guys?
Fine.
Good here. A little bit.
Happy New Year.
In São Paulo, but it's good.
Good. It's cold in Mexico too.
Weather in Mexico, hot, sunny.
Great. I am in the mountain, -10.
Oh.
I do not envy you, Pascal. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's really fantastic. Okay, so I think we can start. So, dear all, first of all, I want to wish you all a happy and prosperous 2022. FIT LATAM is entering in its 6th years, and we hope we will be able to handle a true conference mid-September this year. Today is our first business networking group meeting, and on that occasion, I am very pleased to welcome 3 new members, bringing the total to 20. LoJack, Fleets International, and Localiza, plus e-driving, who is coming back. Once again, many thanks to all our members. The list is on the screen. Aline, please, the list.
Yes.
This is a list of supporting members. Sorry for the way I'm speaking. I have an echo. Today we will start with 2 presentations, as usual. This time, LoJack, a tech company working in the security area, and Fleets International, a fleet management company. Subsequently, we will have a panel on TCO evolution, an interesting topic. 2 leasing companies and 2 fleet managers will debate on prices evolution and TCO management. I'm pleased to welcome Osnil Antonio Bruschi, Head of Latin American Business for Fleet International. Osnil is based in São Paulo and has over 20 years of experience in the car industry and fleet management. Osnil, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. My name is Osnil Antonio, and I'm the head of LATAM at Fleet International Enterprise. We are a fleet management company headquartered in Germany and supported by offices globally. We serve customers in optimizing their fleet strategies at every stage, from acquisition to disposal, with an extensive range of fleet and mobility services that stretch the total fleet and employee life cycle. In order to guarantee our customers an individual and effective fleet management service, 3 success factors are mandatory. Independency. Our fleet experts will provide recommendations based on market research, analysis, and negotiation. This is the factor that allows us to offer our clients what's really the best option for them. Increase the competitive advantage of our clients by decreasing fleet costs and increasing employee productivity. Using the state-of-the-art of IT tools, we use our 100% own software system where we connect our fleet and mobility solutions. This allows us to increase efficiency, flexibility, and data security. This way, we improve the user experience and all stakeholders involved as well. Our operations in LATAM are a result of the extension of contracts with our existing clients in Europe. And as of today, we are pleased to keep the same quality of service to our clients in LATAM and be part of the select group of global fleet management projects. We are currently serving 9 countries in Latin America: Argentina, Brazil, Colombia, Chile, Ecuador, Mexico, Puerto Rico, Peru, and Uruguay, with offices in Mexico and São Paulo City. Among the main services we offer our clients in LATAM are mobility and fleet management, global regional reporting, account and contract management, risk management, benchmarking, strategic support, and invoice control. In Latin America, we are focused on companies with fleets in 1 or multiple countries and needing strategic and operational support. As on strategic support, our system keeps an updated database of all vehicles, contracts, and drivers, making it easy to identify contracts to be renewed. Then our team will start the renewal process, presenting the available vehicle options in accordance with the company's fleet policy and TCO study. Our TCO study will allow the choice of vehicles considering other variables such as average fuel consumption, depreciation, etc. Once the vehicle models are selected by the client, on behalf of them, we can start our pricing process with the preferred leasing company, and then run our online reverse auction tool called e-auction. Important to mention that we have already performed our e-auction with excellent results in Latin America. In addition, we also offer bidding for suppliers of any fleet service, such as fuel car, insurance, telematics, and risk management solutions. Our leasing versus buy analysis is a fully independent study that guides our clients to make the best decision. Available in the biggest market in LATAM, it will be customized according to country, tax system, vehicles depreciation, real purchase and leasing quotes and discounts, fleet policy, like mileage and discounts to driver after vehicle life cycle, and company capital cost, highlighting the capital cost as essential for an effective result. And the sales and leaseback analysis. This is a leasing option that allows you to sell the vehicles to a leasing company and lease it back from them under an agreed monthly rental fee. We provide end-to-end solution for the available market. Regarding the operational support, we can act as a single point of contact to all drivers. Drivers will also be able to access us via the web and app, where all important contacts as well as relevant documents are. The operational team will be prompt to support drivers with any policy issues, ordering process, fines, fuel car, short-term car rental, etc. A dedicated account manager can provide support on a management level, interacting with suppliers and client stakeholders, adjusting process and setting up effective account management structure. Fleets International is harmonizing and consolidating all possible reports into one single system. Our customers are seeking for one report, which displays all requested information on a global or regional level. This is a key factor for identifying savings opportunities, risks, and gaining full knowledge of the fleet and mobility program. With a wide range of fleet solutions, Fleets International enables clients to have a complete control and unique flexibility. For more information, please contact us, and we will be very pleased to expand our products and solutions in detail. This is our first time with the Fleet LATAM Business Networking Group. I'd like to thank Pascal and his team for the support we had so far. We really expect to cooperate with the group development, sharing our experiences and achievements in Latin America. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Osnil. Your presentation has been very interesting, and I'm sure you will get a lot of contact following this meeting.
Thank you, Pascal.
Now, I am pleased to welcome LoJack Mexico. Guillermo has 15 years of experience in fleet management before joining LoJack. Guillermo, the floor is yours.
¿Qué tal, Pascal? Muchas gracias. Muy buenos días a todos los participantes aquí en Fleet LATAM. La presentación. Una disculpa. Muchas gracias a todos por el espacio. Como comenta Pascal, tenemos ahí algún bagaje, ¿no? en el tema de administración de flotas aquí en México, tanto en LoJack, en el equipo directivo, equipo comercial, equipo de operaciones, en el cual sumamos poco más de 60 años. Por lo que la contribución que estamos haciendo junto con el conocimiento de todo el resto del equipo de LoJack, estamos seguros que podemos dar una oferta de valor para todos nuestros clientes y socios, que hoy en día comprenden, ¿no?, nuestro portafolio, y que obviamente estamos buscando crecer ese mismo portafolio. Les voy a platicar un poco de LoJack, que seguramente muchos de ustedes conocen. Sin embargo, en esta LoJack 2.0. LoJack nace en Estados Unidos en 1986 y llegando a México en 1998, teniendo poco más de 23 años de operaciones en este país y expandiéndonos poco a poco. Llegamos al estado de Jalisco y posteriormente, a inicios de este nuevo milenio, expandimos nuestras operaciones en las ciudades principales de México. En 2019 hemos recuperado poco más de 6 billones de pesos en activos que se convierten en estos en poco más de 23,000 activos. ¿Esto en qué nos convierte? En el principal recuperador de activos para nuestros clientes, los más efectivos en México. Somos parte de CalAmp, empresa estadounidense, un gigante de la tecnología, de Internet of Things, que cotiza, es una empresa pública, cotiza en Nasdaq y que adquirió la marca LoJack en 2018. Y esto, como veremos un poco más adelante, nos da la tecnología híbrida que hoy en día ningún competidor, ningún player en México puede ofrecer. En resumen, LoJack tiene más de 35 años en México, de experiencia, 23 años en México, líderes en la recuperación de vehículos o de assets en la industria y con tecnología exclusiva, que más adelante estaremos viendo. ¿Quién es LATAM? ¿Quién es CalAmp a nivel mundial? CalAmp es un gigante, como lo comentaba, de Internet of Things. Somos pioneros en telemática con más de 40 años de experiencia. Tenemos más de 300 patentes globales y 55 patentes pendientes. Somos una corporación con presencia global, donde nuestros headquarters están en California y con distintas células de desarrollo, de ingeniería, etcétera, a lo largo de Estados Unidos y con presencia en México, España, Reino Unido e Italia. También somos líderes en número de suscriptores, SAPs, donde tenemos más de 1.3 millones de clientes y con más de 23 millones de devices instalados a nivel mundial. Esto pocos nos pueden decir en la industria. La mejor tecnología, soluciones para cada necesidad en LoJack. En primera es la recuperación, la localización de los vehículos con nuestra tecnología BLU. ¿Qué es el BLU? La radiofrecuencia. La radiofrecuencia es una tecnología exclusiva de LoJack en México que acaba de ser renovada por 20 años más. Ningún otro player en la industria puede presumir de esta situación. ¿Y esto qué nos da? Que podemos recuperar vehículos que están localizados en subterráneos, con ciertos techos que con el GPS es imposible, y además que estamos certificados por la Secretaría de Comunicaciones y Transportes y por el Instituto Federal de Telecomunicaciones. También estamos certificados por CESBI México. De tal forma que esa confianza, esa certeza, la queremos compartir con todos nuestros clientes con base a la efectividad que podemos tener, no solo en la recuperación, un tema bastante importante, y ya que desafortunadamente en los últimos años ha venido creciendo el tema de inseguridad, no solo en México, sino en Latinoamérica, por diversos motivos que todos conocemos. De igual forma, al ser parte de CalAmp, ahí es donde mezclamos lo mejor de las tecnologías, la radiofrecuencia, telemática, Internet of Things, SaaS, la data que necesitamos para poder dar ese paso adelante, ese valor agregado a todos nuestros clientes, el análisis de esa data, porque no solo es proveerlo, sino cómo lo procesamos y cómo lo utilizamos en beneficio de nuestros clientes. ¿Para qué? Para impactar sí, en el costo total de operación, en la productividad de la movilidad de nuestros clientes y de sus flotas. Como comentaba, son las mejores soluciones, hablando tecnológicamente, para cada necesidad. Tenemos la parte de telemática, de telematics, donde utilizamos toda la parte de Internet of Things, ¿no? Servicios en la operación, con la modernización, con videovigilancia, HADAS, control de combustible, el hábito de los conductores, todas esas soluciones de una manera integral que hoy en día nos gusta llamarla de una manera holística, de tal forma que lo que buscamos es que nuestros clientes, una vez que se acerquen con LoJack, tengan la confianza que podemos construir soluciones y propuestas de valor con base a las necesidades que requiere cada tipo de flota, ya sea de transporte y logística, ya sea farmacéutica, ya sea de distribución, etcétera. De tal forma que buscamos esa solución, ese paso más adelante y que nos vean como un socio comercial, no como un proveedor. También, de forma exclusiva, tenemos el servicio de Crashbox. ¿Qué es Crashbox?
Hola, Guillermo. Lo siento, me escuchando. ¿Podrías compartir tu pantalla para tu presentación? ¿Tienes una presentación o no?
Sí. No. Dame un segundo.
Que yo no estoy mirando.
¿Ahí ya la pueden ver?
No. Aline, so Guillermo wants to share his presentation, but we cannot see it. I don't know if...
Guillermo, you have to click on the small icon with the screen below the videos.
¿Habla inglés también, Guillermo?
Yes.
¿Entiende? Okay.
Sorry, I'm here with my IT team.
Okay, good. We can see now.
You can see it? Sorry.
Yeah, okay, good. Okay.
Thank you.
Gracias. Okay.
Sorry. So, lo que estaba comentando de Crashbox. Crashbox es un servicio exclusivo por parte de LoJack, en el cual, por medio de nuestro dispositivo y la tecnología, nos permite analizar el impacto que podemos tener de una colisión donde estamos con las fuerzas G, severidad del accidente, de tal forma que podemos disparar las distintas alarmas. De igual forma, tenemos acuerdos con los distintos niveles de seguridad, que son federales, estatales y locales, lo cual eso nos da una fortaleza, de igual forma que las patrullas a nivel nacional en México están instalados nuestros dispositivos, lo cual hace mucho más efectiva la recuperación, que hoy en día es del 90%. Tenemos de igual forma una licencia a nivel internacional, tanto en México como para Brasil, para nuestra tecnología exclusiva, que es radiofrecuencia, que como les comento, eso convierte en un impacto positivo en la recuperación de los vehículos. Somos desarrolladores de tecnología, de software, y también somos fabricantes de nuestro propio hardware, lo cual esto nos hace una empresa única y no integradores, de tal forma que esas soluciones vienen directamente de casa, que es LoJack. Como les comentaba, tenemos más de 23 millones de dispositivos instalados a nivel global, nadie puede comentar eso, y la seguridad que nosotros damos, la visibilidad que queremos dar a nuestros clientes es bumper to bumper, de tal forma que no solo cuidamos el activo, también podemos cuidar las cajas, la carga, que muchas veces para los clientes es más importante el valor de la caja que el propio asset. El comportamiento del conductor, que para ciertos sectores puede ser muy importante, como el control, por ejemplo, de ventas de farmacéuticas o inclusive la renta diaria. De tal forma que esa información, esa data, la podemos también de igual forma proporcionar a nuestros clientes. El monitoreo y control de diésel, que hoy en día es un problema sumamente importante para ciertos sectores como es transporte y logística. Tenemos una solución sumamente efectiva con respecto a lo que hay en el mercado, de tal forma que también estamos ahí cooperando con nuestros clientes para esa disminución del TCO, tema que es importante en este foro. Soluciones para el transporte. Tenemos soluciones para vehículos, transporte y logística, utilitarios que va desde motocicletas hasta vehículos de la última milla, equipo verde, equipo amarillo, motocicletas que van desde el caballaje de 110 hasta 1500 y Calam Telematics. ¿Qué es Calam Telematics? Es donde se concentra toda la información, toda la data que proveemos a nuestros clientes, de tal forma los ayudemos a optimizar sus flotas y sus activos, dando la certeza que esta información está resguardada de una forma 100% segura para todos nuestros clientes, siendo hoy un tema sumamente importante para todos los clientes, el resguardo de dicha información. ¿Cuál es nuestra propuesta de valor? La propuesta de valor es el BLU, la radiofrecuencia, la localización, la telemática y la efectividad superior al 90% de la recuperación de los assets. El monitoreo que damos en tiempo real de una forma predictiva y también reactiva 24/7 con nuestros clientes. Hoy en día hemos sido seleccionados por un cliente bastante importante que es Overhaul, el cual tenemos la responsabilidad de llevar ese tracking, ese monitoreo desde Estados Unidos a México, llevando ese monitoreo tanto en la unidad en movimiento, que es el tracto, como también llevamos el monitoreo por medio de tags en la carga, llevando un registro de 0 robos al día de hoy, de una forma tanto preventiva como predictiva. De tal forma que también la vanguardia tecnológica que ofrecemos en LoJack, como les comentaba, es la parte de video, radiofrecuencia. Tenemos hoy en día un sistema de gestión de cerraduras también electrónicas, tanto para cajas secas como para combustóleo y otro tipo de assets, donde es manejado desde un centro, ya sea de nuestros clientes o nosotros propios. Esto también nos ayuda para la reducción y control de las cargas y la reducción de robos que desafortunadamente hemos visto incrementando en estos últimos años, y esto nos ha ayudado mucho para hacer ese socio comercial de referencia para nuestros clientes. Como comentaba, el tema de seguridad es un tema muy importante para este foro y para el mercado, tanto de los colaboradores como de sus activos, como del entorno que los rodea. Por eso tenemos Crashbox. Crashbox, como comentaba, es un sistema el cual nos va a estar dando una visibilidad en caso de una colisión 30 segundos antes, durante y 30 segundos posteriores. Es la caja negra del vehículo. ¿Por qué somos tan efectivos? Porque este dispositivo va directamente conectado a la computadora con una instalación de tal forma que ya está tropicalizado para los caminos de México. No así, por ejemplo, con unos dispositivos que hemos encontrado haciendo un benchmark que van conectados al OBD, de tal forma que con cualquier variación en el camino nos va registrando ciertos movimientos o colisiones en el vehículo. En cambio, con nuestra tecnología, esto está supremamente bien medido con una efectividad superior al 96%. Y un punto importante, y hablando de la seguridad, en estos niveles de severidad de una colisión, en caso de que lleguemos a un nivel 6 o 5, inmediatamente disparamos alertas a policía, ambulancias y demás contactos que así requiera el cliente. Smart Video, donde tenemos HADAS, videovigilancia, etcétera. De tal forma podemos llevar a cabo un control correcto del trayecto y ese tracking de distintos sectores, ¿no? Que nos pueden ser bastante interesantes y que en qué nos ayuda, en que podamos ser preventivos. Hay una estadística muy importante, sobre todo, por ejemplo, con HADAS. Si detectamos que el usuario está generando un cansancio, está distraído con el celular o con otros factores, emitimos esas alarmas de tal forma que podemos disminuir considerablemente el efecto negativo de estas distracciones. Y como les comentaba, es el comando 24/7, que puede ser tanto preventivo como reactivo. Tenemos más de 60 posiciones en el cual estamos monitoreando todas las unidades, de tal forma que si el cliente requiere que sea preventivo, identificamos movimientos o coches inusuales en el trayecto, de tal forma que emitimos esa alerta y también comunicamos esa comunicación con las distintas autoridades para hacer presencia de manera inmediata. De tal forma podemos hacer prevención de esos robos. Como cierre, LoJack somos desarrolladores de la tecnología, de tal forma que estamos listos para hacer para hacer el cambio para nuestros clientes, y es en el TCM, un concepto que les quiero dejar en la mente, y es el Total Cost of Mobility o el costo total de movilidad. Sí, conocemos todos lo que es el costo total de operación, pero hoy en día debemos enfocarnos también en este costo total de movilidad, y para ello, nosotros ¿en qué nos enfocamos? Reducción de robos, reducción de accidentes, reducción de costos, entre otros, incrementando la seguridad, los ahorros y el peace of mind. Ese peace of mind que están buscando los clientes para sus colaboradores, para sus clientes y para su entorno. Con todos estos desarrollos de tecnología, de software y con nuestros propios dispositivos, es lo que queremos ofrecer hoy en día al mercado. Otro punto que quiero dejar sobre la mesa y que se lleven en la mente es la efectividad en la recuperación que tenemos. 9 de cada 10 activos son recuperados por LoJack. Y por último, son las soluciones que podemos hacer a la medida para nuestros clientes, como renta diaria, empresas de renta diaria, empresas financieras con el First Payment Default, en el cual podemos identificar, este cliente te va a dejar de pagar. Incrementar la productividad de los equipos de ventas, visitadores médicos, administrativos, etcétera, llevando un tracking ligado entre el vehículo y puede ser, por ejemplo, con un celular, entre muchos otros. De igual forma, tenemos una plataforma totalmente robusta donde tenemos toda esta información, toda esta data que ponemos a disposición de nuestros clientes. Sin más, les quiero agradecer a Pascal, a todo el equipo y a todos los presentes. Aquí mis datos, el correo en el cual con muchísimo gusto les podemos atender en LoJack. Muchas gracias por su tiempo y tengan una excelente semana.
Muchas gracias, Guillermo. Thank you very much, Guillermo.
You want to continue? Pascal has a little bit of echo there. Would you like to introduce the panel or would you like me to try?
I will try. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you fine. Just a little bit pausing between the sentences, probably because of the echo you're hearing.
Okay, so I would like to introduce our panel of discussion today. We have Paula Diniz Oliveira, Global Head of Fleet at Zoetis, Kevin Kibbles, LATAM Fleet Procurement and Operation at MSD, Sergio Lecue, International Key Account Director for LATAM at ALD, Manuel Tamayo, Country Head in Mexico for Element, and Ricardo Dvole, Global Business Development in LATAM for Arval. But before they start debating on difficulties and solutions, I would like to spend a few words to describe the present situation. As you know, inflation has been registered at 7% at the end of this year in the United States and 5% in Europe. Microchip shortages continues and will continue for some time, according to OEM. This has impacted heavily car production in 2021 and will continue certainly in 2022. You will suffer probably from extended delays for deliveries. On the price side, OEM have had an opportunity to reduce discount while list price continue to increase at more than 3% per year. That situation has also affected daily rental operators. They are, in many cases, the most affected customers. They used to be the one with highest discount. I do not have the exact figure for LATAM, but I read that in Europe, the average increase of daily rentals have been as much as 35% from one year to another. Aluminium, steel, rubber, and most raw materials have increased as much as 87% from one year to another for the car industry. This will impact for sure both car prices for 2022 and spare parts, in particular tires. Obviously, interest rates are increasing, as is expected when inflation gets back. Finally, fuel prices have never been so high since 2008, with the Brent again close to $90 a barrel. This is certainly a complex situation, resulting largely from the sanitary crisis and the difficulties to reopen the economy. In that context, I think that we have a great interest in listening our panel member. And what we have planned for today is first a presentation of the situation by our two fleet managers, Kevin and Paula. Second, we will have an answer from our three lessors, Element, Arval, and ALD. And after that, I would propose to open the panel. So if you want, Kevin and Paula, this is your turn.
Thank you, Pascal. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
All right. I have to make this question. Do we continue in English or in Spanish?
I think that we have a certain number of people participating from the United States and Europe. So if you don't mind, I would ask English, sorry, unless there is someone high participating saying exactly the opposite.
No problem.
Okay, can you hear me well?
Yes, very well.
Yes, great. So, Pascal, thank you very much for the opportunity to be here. My name is Paula. I am responsible for the fleet operation for Zoetis. I'm located here in US, but I started, my job managing Latin America. So it's great to be here and discuss this important topic with everybody. Kevin?
Kevin seems to have some difficulties. Paula, I think that Kevin has left. Can you hear me, Paula?
Yes, I can hear you.
Do you have the presentation? Kevin is just back.
Yes,
Yes. Sorry. Can you guys hear me now?
Oh yes, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Just
Good.
lost you for a few seconds.
Yeah, I got kicked out. I don't know if it's my internet connection. Let's try that again. And if not, I'll ask Paola if she can help me share. I'm not going to try presentation mode for the PowerPoint. I think that kind of messed up the presentation. So I'll just share it like this. Is this okay for you guys? Can you see my screen?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
All right, perfect. So I'll just leave it like this. I'm not going to touch anything. So thank you, Paula, for your introduction. My name is Kevin Kibbles. I am the fleet manager for the LATAM region at the pharmaceutical MSD. And what we would like to bring to you guys, certain topics that we are dealing with and struggling with in the past 2 years with this pandemic situation that has obviously affected certain areas of the automotive industry. Just like Pascal already mentioned, one of the news that we have heard many times in this industry is the shortage of microcomponents and the microchips that vehicles need for their production, and therefore we have delays in production lines and obviously in the delivery dates of new vehicles. At the beginning, we started seeing this in some brands. Today, we can generalize the topic that all brands are suffering from this shortage. We have also heard about and are now beginning to suffer some effects of delays in logistic and distribution. We have bottlenecks in some ports in the region, causing this more delay than what we used to know in the delivery date of new vehicles. So the little volume of new vehicles that it is being distributed is also being impacted by the bottlenecks at the ports, causing that delay in the delivery dates that we initially received from the different brands. So moving forward to that, we have certain principal areas that are being affected when we see this from a fleet manager perspective. Like we just mentioned, the availability of new vehicles is a big problem for us, since our renewal does not stop, and we are reaching the 3 or 4 years, depending what our company has decided for the useful period or life period of the vehicle. And there is a limitation for us to do our work how we used to normally do it, since we have no vehicles available, or we have few vehicles, or the vehicles that are available do not comply to what we need, or do not comply in budget, do not comply in safety standards, do not comply in security standards, etc. So what has happened in some of the brands, they have eliminated the fleet programs. By this, we mean they have eliminated discounts and fleet support for their brand, because of the effect that the demand and supply is having. We have a lot of high demand of vehicles and very small supply. Therefore, the brands are concentrating on private sales, private sector, since the gain or the profit for their company is much higher than selling vehicles to a fleet or to a company with a fleet with strong discounts. How has that affected, or that impact that we are living, how has that affected us in other terms? In many ways, it has affected us, and we have had certain actions made that Paola is going to share with you a little bit in a couple of minutes. But mainly, what has affected is the TCO, right? Like one of we have heard before, the TCO is the total cost of ownership. By extending the life period of the vehicles, meaning we cannot renew our fleet by the 4 years that we are used to, we are obviously incrementing the usage of the vehicle, the kilometers that the vehicles are being used, and therefore the ways or the the maintenance that the vehicles are needing is obviously higher, and therefore cost is also increasing. Spend for maintenance is increasing, and older vehicles are obviously going to need more, let's say, high maintenance services than new vehicles would. We have also very long periods of time, waiting time for parts, since the parts are also being impacted by this logistic and distribution effect that that I mentioned before. We are losing warranties, since warranties, as a normal practice for us, warranties run 3 years. Most of us extend that to a 4-year period, since that's our life cycle for the vehicles. So after the four years are over, we are experiencing now problems with no warranties on the vehicles. Therefore, us having to pay the services that we weren't used to paying, and therefore impacting the total cost of ownership. How does this affect us internally, and not just looking at the vehicle itself? Our spend control is obviously chaotic right now. There is no way to control what's going to happen, since there's also uncertainty in the market. So we can't plan ahead on when the changes are really going to be made. And obviously that impacts the budget that we have planned for the year. With this, we are experiencing problems also on planning budget for 2022, since we have impacted already years back, and the new budget 2022 is almost so variable that planning cannot be as specific as it used to be in previous years, which is now leading to financial problems or conflicts within the company, not only regarding vehicles, but since we cannot plan budgets ahead of time, we are impacting other areas when budget is missing from what was theoretically planned for our fleet. That leads to certain actions that we have, what most of the companies that have a fleet have already applied or are looking to apply. And I will let my colleague Paola tell you a little bit more about these actions and possible solutions that we have found within our corporations to solve the impact that the pandemic is causing on us.
Yes, thank you, Kevin. So I think the first thing is to have a plan of communication, right? The fleet issue sometimes is not something that, for example, our field force, right, deal every day, right? It's part of our daily issue, but it's not part of many internal clients' issues. So we need to show them what's going on. We must have a transparent conversation with HR, with finance, and work together, right, with them to help us to explain and align expectations from the users. Okay, so this is one very, very important thing. I think the other one is review our policy. So most of policies are divided by category, and each category has like a limit of rent price or vehicle price, and prices are increasing. So many times our drivers said, look, I would like, I'm gonna change my car, but I can't purchase the vehicle, with the current policy. I can have the same vehicle. So many cases we are working together with finance to check the impact, for a new vehicle, and doing this automatically. So instead of coming back every time, to review the policy, we set up index inflation in some countries and review automatically the policy. So this gives us autonomy to work with more fluence, more easily right, to purchase and to be quicker to purchase the vehicles. The other thing is negotiation, right? So we are working very closely with our fleet providers, negotiating scope of services. So given an example, there are some executives that they don't they stay like 4 years with the vehicle, they don't drive much mileage. So what we can do, we can, for example, exclude the preventive maintenance in the contract, so we have a lower rental per month during the period of time. Or if they don't have many accidents, right, during this time, so we are reviewing also the scope of the insurance, right? So this is some exercise we can do to decrease, to have some savings or not having so many impacts in our operation. Other thing very important is to have the KPIs, a very well-defined KPIs. This is important to compare what's going on and where we wanna be in the end of the year. We have a challenge to control the budget, but at the same time we need to know what's happening with the operation, right? Sometimes we can negotiate, we can do a lot of things to reduce price, and if we don't have KPIs in place, we cannot track this as well, right? So this is some examples of things we are doing. In some countries also we are working with the fleet providers. They have sometimes pool of vehicles that they can rent for a period of time when the new vehicle is not available. So this is something we are working pretty well with some fleet providers in some countries. What else? In terms of benefits, right? So the pandemic has changed a lot of things. People, some positions are driving less right now, working from home. So we are also doing a business case to see if it makes sense to give a car or paying per miles, right? So sometimes a position that used to have a vehicle right now doesn't make sense anymore. So this is a kind of business case we are doing. Of course, we have to align with HR, with legal, because even vehicle being a work tool, sometimes people see as benefit. So we have to align before with HR and legal on this, but it's a very good exercise to see if it makes sense to provide a vehicle. The other thing we are doing is in some countries that we have telematics. Telematics help us to see also other kinds of mobility. If a position, can, if we can, instead of provide a vehicle, we can study the route the person do, right, in terms of in the work, and see if the person can use a Uber or other kinds of mobility instead of having a vehicle. Maybe rent a vehicle for a while, but not in a long term. So this is a kind of study we are doing as well. And also, of course, we are keeping our vehicles, our old vehicles, to assign for the new hires, right, during a period of time until the new vehicle is not available. So this is some of the actions we are doing to go over the situation and improve our experience and avoid disturbance in our operation. I think that's the main points. Kevin, do you want to add other thing here?
Thank you, Paola. No, I mean, I think this covers most of the actions that we have taken. Sometimes, as the last solution that we see here, sometimes we have gone through all possible solutions and none of them apply to what we need. So there is no other option for us but to wait, and coordinate with the different brands and have a pre-list of production so that waiting times are 3 to 4 months, like they are communicating today. But other than that, that's how we have developed the ideas and how to solve them during this period of times. And hopefully that 2022 will be something different as the year develops.
Thank you very much, Kevin and Paula. I think it's a good presentation for everybody, and I would like to listen now our friends from the leasing company, so we can have the other version, the version from the partners, suppliers. I don't know, Sergio, Ricardo, Manuel, how you have planned your presentation, but the floor is yours.
Thank you, Pascal. It's great being here with you, and Happy New Year to everyone. It's great reconnecting again in this new year. Great presentation, Kevin and Paula, and we'll try to move on fast through our slides so we can, let's say, reach the Q&A or the round table, which we think will be the most value added out of this conversation. Just first to present ourselves, Ricardo de Vol, he's the Global Business Development Director for the LATAM region in the Arval BNP Paribas Group. Then also with us, Sergio Leque. He's the Regional Key Account Director in LATAM for ALD Automotive. And myself, I'm the Country Head for Element Fleet Management in Mexico. So great being here with you. I'll try not to be repetitive. So the COVID-19 has created a global disruption in international logistic chains around the globe. It's something that we all acknowledge, that we've all been, I would say, suffering one way or another. And obviously the automotive and the fleet industries are among the most affected ones. We all know about the chip shortage affecting. And the chip shortage, just to give you an example, is only 10% of the global, let's say, chips disruption in the world. So many other industries are being affected by this, let's say, logistic disruption. What are we seeing as main areas of disruption? Obviously, the OEM inventory shortage, but also on the spare parts availability. There's overall a logistic disruption around logistic chains and supply chains around the world. We thought, and Pascal was, he pointed out the inflation affecting, let's say, globally. Europe, the US, Mexico, Brazil, and many other countries in Latin America, we've seen increased inflation. And that has affected vehicle costs, overall maintenance costs, but also that has also affected in increased bank rates. That's a way for some governments to battle against inflation in some sense, and that has created also an increase in, again, local bank rates, and that translated into overall higher costs in the financing structure. And then we already talked about non-discounts in new vehicles and reduced cost policies in many industries. That's some push that we've been seeing. Overall, this has created an increased TCO in current and future fleets. And then, well, what we, let's say, are bringing to the table is a conversation around how can FMCs help. And then I'll let Ricardo and Sergio probably tackle this slide for us.
Okay. On our side, this situation is something that, in fact, we have nothing a lot to do with that. It means like we need to accept that, and after that, try to implement different initiatives in order to reduce the impact of this this TCO increase in our market. So before doing that, the first thing, a very open channel of communication with the clients. It's like opening as much as possible our, let's say, our books, in order to give them a clear vision of what is going on in terms of negotiations with OEMs that we're suffering a lot. They are not respecting basically discounts, and they are increasing prices without visibility to us. So we need to be very proactive on that side in order to provide the right information in the right time to the clients. This is very important, but also important in terms of services, and try also to include the clients in our negotiations with the services providers as maintenance or car. It's something that we think is, let's say, mandatory in order to facilitate the information that the fleet managers are also transferring to their organizations, because we know that for fleet managers today they are facing several internal let's say, discussions, and at some point it's not easy for them to justify an increase in a monthly rental of 15 or 20%. So the communication is key. We can also work a lot in the mobility trends and in the mobility, and I let recap some of the initiatives that they are already implemented.
I think Ricardo is having some issues with his microphone.
Would you like to continue?
He'll probably speak with the hands, as you can see. But so I'll just probably finish up with the, let's say, thinking about anticipated renewals. So basically, what we came across, and as, let's say, as FMCs in the region, is we're thinking outside of the box. We're bringing disruptive ideas in these disruptive times, let's say, for companies to think out of the box. Sergio has mentioned some of the solutions that we're bringing to the table to clients. But basically, something that we have focused a lot is non-rigid and non-traditional solutions. So thinking, what else can we do? The issues are there. We need to now think of solutions and do a real partnership. Think on a midterm with our clients, probably not on the shorter end. In the shorter end, we're seeing complications, let's say, all along. But how can, let's say, we accomplish the goals that you as a company have on the midterm, and that's part of what we want to bring into the table. And I think we all agree as FMCs that's something that we're doing in the region to help out in these, let's say, disruptive times. So we really create a midterm or long-term partnership with our clients, and having their goals, let's say, top of mind, with outside of the box solutions and how we can, let's say, achieve those goals. Pascal, I think we're done with our presentation in that end. You wanted, let's say, to open to questions and answers from the public, and then we can probably tackle between Paula, Kevin, Sergio, Ricardo, and myself. No? And then I can see that the questions can also come through the chat box, right?
I think we lost Pascal. I can't see him. So I don't know if Daniel, you can help us out with that panel discussion.
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
We can.
Yeah, we can hear you.
I think the video is might take a few seconds to get in there. Yeah, so let me see a couple of questions that we have over here. Just a minute. We have one question over here. So, this is for the lessors. So, of course, we have a 35% increase that we're facing in daily rental, more or less. Raw materials are increasing, maybe in the range of 87%. Interest rates. How much do you think for the lessors this will impact operations? Let's say if we do nothing. And then on the contrary, used car sales are also making good results in addition to working from home. And this is reducing yearly mileage. So I guess the second question would be, is there a limit to contract extensions? So, and maybe how do you manage these protocols with OEMs for any of the lessors?
What we are doing basically, and I think is one of the most important things, is to have a most proactive update of the mileage. We do think that we need to help also our clients to have under control this mileage. So this is something that should be done before, and it was done, but not as proactively as it is today. So today we need to define with the clients the right mileage for the right vehicles and try to extend as much as possible to minimize this TCO impact, which you mentioned is 35%. Under our side, this is one of the main, I would say, protocols that we need to follow.
Emmanuel or Ricardo?
Yeah, probably to complement there, as Sergio was mentioning, we have to see let's say the overall TCO. We've seen that mobility has gone down in some of the fleets, probably executive fleets and probably sales fleets have gone down. But then you have some other fleets like distribution fleets or utilitarian fleets that probably the mobility has come back probably to levels up similar to prior around the pandemic. So something that, let's say, to keep in mind is you can always extend the contracts, but then you always have probably a higher cost in maintenance. So you have to be very sensitive in the point, in the optimal, let's say, point of replacement, thinking about where's the exact point where you can extend the contract without, let's say, incurring in higher maintenance costs. And again, my comment comes along that not every solution, let's say, fits every fleet. So that's one of the things that we really need to watch out is depending on the industry of our clients, depending on the usage of the vehicles, depending on, let's say, the overall conditions of, let's say, the country or the place where they're, let's say, moving the vehicles, you have to have those things into consideration whenever you're thinking, let's say, about extending to control let's say, the TCO, because we are seeing a higher cost around rates, higher cost around vehicles, higher cost around maintenance. So you have to be very sensitive in the sense of understanding where is the optimal place of replacement, because that kind of like an easy go solution of extending the term might not always give the expected results for our clients.
Ricardo, is your microphone working? No? Okay. We have a question. Yes, you want to get a question there, Pascal?
Yeah, Daniel, I'm just back. Sorry, guys.
Okay.
It's very difficult to work today with my PC. Well, I've been losing some part of the discussion, and maybe I will go with a very straightforward question. Given the situation, and this is for both the fleet managers and the lessors, how much would you say would be the increase globally for the fleet? Do you think it will be 5%, 10%, 15%? Do you have a number? Even if you try to mitigate, to eliminate some services, because I understand that what you're doing nowadays is trying to make an optimization. But at the end of the day, my feeling is that anyway, we will have an increase in prices. So have you been able to convince your your management, or are you working on forecasting? If you would have to put a number, what would be the number? And the question is for everybody. Maybe a stupid question, but generally the answer is not a stupid one. The answer needs to be a very clever one.
What a complicated question, Pascal. You should have warned us.
We could have worked
let me start just to get this going. I think we don't need to convince our teams, our internal teams, because they know the situation. We have heard of the situation from many different communication channels, so we are aware that this is going to cost us a bit more. There is an increase in spend. If I would have to guess a number, I would probably say about 10%, somewhere there, maybe a little bit more, a little bit less. But there is really no specific way to measure it, since this is impacting many or different lines of spend regarding the vehicles. It's affecting the vehicle cost, it's affecting the maintenance, it is affecting gasoline is also increasing in most of the countries. So it's very difficult to calculate a number, but I would settle it on 10%. I think anything higher than that would cause conflict and arguments against it, for our forecasting budget.
Yes, I would say, from my experience here, so from 2019 until 2021, okay, in terms of total cost per vehicle, at least in our operation, we have decreased. Okay, we decreased from 2019 to 2020 around 3%. In 2020 to 2021, minus 4%. Okay, but we had project more savings than this. Okay, we were in 2019 when we did the study for the next 5 years, we were expecting to have more savings than we are having right now. Okay, from 2021 to 2022, so our budget for 2022, we project 2% more than we spent in 2021. Okay, but this 2% is because we supposed to have more savings as well, right? But we expect to spend more for 2022 because our mileage is also coming back compared to 2019 before the pandemic started. Okay, so people are starting driving more, and the cost of the fuel is more expensive as well. So we are working with these numbers.
Any opinion from the lessors?
Well, it's good to have the input.
No, on our side, as Paula mentioned, sometimes we forget that prices were coming down in 2018 and 2019. So now we are facing a big increase of prices, but the reality is that those prices were extremely low before the pandemic. Okay, now from scratch, if we compare from scratch, we would say that it's above 10% for sure. I would say like 13% is the average increases that unfortunately we are facing and we are transferring to the clients. 1-3. This is my guess, I would say. But it would probably we think that this is a temporary situation, and cost will probably reduce a bit at the end of the year. This is our estimate.
Well, and one part of consideration that we see, and let's say that we often talk with our clients is, let's say the higher costs are coming from the renewal vehicles, right? And if you think about it, you might be renewing between 20 and 30% probably of your vehicles per year. Probably around these dates is a little bit lower than that, considering, let's say, the availability of inventories to replace vehicles. And those are the vehicles that are suffering the highest, let's say, increases. So when you dilute that into the total fleet, that let's say overall cost goes down. So you might have an increase somewhere around, I don't know, Kevin, Sergio, and Paolo were mentioning 2, 10, and 13%. Let's round it up at 8 or 9%. And so, but that's the increase that you're having probably only on 20% or 25% of your fleet, not the total fleet. So the total cost of ownership of your total fleet might not be, let's say, impacted as high as that. The other part is there, let's say, options or solutions that, again, FMCs are working with our clients in order to reduce the cost or the total cost of the existing fleet. So overall, you might, let's say, mitigate one thing with the other, and then the impact might not be as, let's say, substantial as we might think. Again, big price hikes in the sense of rates in the region, in the sense of overall vehicle prices. I was looking at some charts, and the overall vehicle, let's say, prices are going up around somewhere between 9 and 12% in the region, depending a little bit on the country. But overall, then you need to, let's say, manage for the whole fleet, not only, let's say, for the renewals.
Okay, thank you, guys. I think this is extremely interesting. I was having another question. Generally, you have two priorities. One is to control your TCO, and the other one is to reduce CO2 emission. Do you think that in this context, your plans to reduce CO2, to move from fleet management to mobility management, to change the category of engines or cars, can accelerate? Because generally crises are moments when there is an acceleration. The question is primarily for, I would say, for the fleet managers. Will you continue with your objectives other than TCO? Will you accelerate, or will you hang over for some months?
Yeah. So in my experience, we are keeping, right, the objective. So talking about Zoetis, we have the target to be carbon neutral for 2030. Okay. So I think the current situation requires us to be more organized in the plan. Okay, we need to work very, very closely with the fleet providers, right, to help us to design this plan. Okay, and to be prepared for that. I think nobody else is more know what's going on and have the knowledge to support us than the fleet providers. Right, and I am optimistic with this. I don't think we have to delay this target. Okay, it's just a matter of to be very organized in the plan. Okay, so that's, I think new technologies will be onboarded, and it's possible to reach. But of course, at the end, depends of the target of the company. Right, how long the company wants to be carbon free, and the type of operation as well. If the vehicles operate in cities or in farms, so both factors interfere in the final target.
Thank you, Paula. That's very clear. Anyone wants to add something?
Yes, Pascal. I can agree with Paula's comments, although I think there are also external factors that might change that.
Fully in line with Paula, but I think it also depends on clients' mindset. Basically, because in this context of price increase, it's even more difficult to implement this green fleet solution when we know that, unfortunately, in the region, the TCO is still higher than for the ICE cars. So if we sum up this TCO increase, comparing one to the other, with the issue that we are facing with the ICE cars, the fact is that the cost will increase much more if we compare it with the former cost of the company in 2021, for instance. So if the mindset of the client is no matter what it takes, we need to go there, okay, I think it will not suffer impact on electrification. If it's a TCO approach, we know that it will take some more time to implement the solution.
Thank you, Sergio. Kevin, if you can go on with your point.
Yeah. Yes, I just wanted to mention that, I mean, we have had conversations with the brand that had planned several hybrid technology vehicles or full electric vehicles. They had launches planned for the upcoming years. And they have confirmed that they have delayed that, and they are giving or priority to the regular vehicles that we know from them, to kind of level out the industry again from what it has suffered in the last 2 years. So when we take those points into consideration, although we want to keep our goals and not change them or delay them as to what sustainability means internally, external factors would do that by themselves. So we have to adapt to what the industry is offering, and as of today, we don't have many options, especially on the spend side, on the cost side. So I think time would tell, and product availability would also tell and give us a guidance to what we need to do internally, if we can keep those goals or if we need to extend them to a different year in the future.
And probably just one final comment, complementing and a probably different angle from what we're seeing is probably the let's say the initial cost of the electric vehicles is yet higher than the ICE vehicles when you compare model versus model. When you do the TCO, we're getting very close to a parity point where they're, let's say, equal within the TCO. And two considerations that we've been seeing is gas prices have been going up, both in let's say, in two very relevant markets like Mexico and Brazil. In Brazil, it has gone up more than 74% in the last couple of years. So that's a huge impact for the fleets. But when you bring in an electric vehicle, that, let's say, is a reduction if you think about it. And the other thing that we're seeing is probably in electric vehicles going to 5 years rather than 3 or 4 is more suitable, given, let's say, the less maintenance that you would have in those vehicles going forward. So those two somehow compensate. Other than that, then you would also have to consider, as Kevin was saying, the overall availability of the models. Not to say that a lot of these vehicles have been, let's say, affected as many others by the chip shortage, but still they're an option that probably not as popular, and then probably some inventories might be easier to access in a sense. Just probably a different angle to a problem.
Thank you, guys. Before we close the session, is there anyone willing to add something on this particular topic about TCO, about prices increase, about anything to add before we close the session? Okay, you're all silent. So I think it is our commitment to do probably mid-year, maybe, or within 6 or 9 months, where we stand. I think in the meantime, we should probably have exchanges about KPI information, how telematics can head in the follow-up of this particular situation. Anyway, our next meeting is in March, and I hope that you will be, many of you, present end of March. And for the time being, I would like to thank all the speakers and their interesting presentation, I think the topic is of a major interest. We know the situation. We want to have a better knowledge about its magnitude, and the future and the next months will give us a lot of information about it. So thank you very much to all. Have a great day, and thank you very much for the participants to be there. Today we have a lot of people participating, and this was very nice. Thank you to you all. Have a great day. And sorry for the difficulties with the sound and the image. We will try to make sure next time it will be better. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Take care.
Thank you, Pascal. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Pascal.
Los
Thank you,
accidentes
everyone.
ocurren mucho y tienen graves consecuencias para las víctimas, el tiempo, el dinero y la eficiencia de los negocios. Ahora puede contar con Crashbox, un servicio de gestión de riesgo del vehículo altamente fiable, que envía alertas instantáneas de choque, informes detallados de reconstrucción de accidentes y estimaciones predictivas de daños físicos en tiempo casi real. Aunque muchos accidentes no llegan a declararse, Crashbox brinda notificaciones automatizadas con un 99% de confiabilidad en el momento del impacto y proporciona una clasificación de severidad del choque y un informe detallado del incidente, de modo que las empresas puedan enviar ayuda de emergencia directamente al lugar del choque y agilizar proactivamente el proceso de reparación. Para un mejor entendimiento, el informe de reconstrucción de accidentes colabora en la investigación para ayudar a verificar la exactitud del informe de choque del conductor, posibilitar una más exitosa subrogación y mitigar el fraude. Las estimaciones predictivas de daños en tiempo casi real permiten a las empresas enviar el servicio adecuado, al lugar adecuado, en el momento adecuado, para mejorar la clasificación y ahorrar tiempo y dinero. Apoyado en décadas de conocimiento de la industria y la telemática de vehículos, ingeniería de sistemas de seguridad para vehículos de fabricación original y gestión de riesgos, Crashbox se ha granjeado elogios por parte de expertos de la industria y la confianza de las empresas. Los accidentes siempre ocurrirán. Crashbox lo ayuda a administrarlos mejor para reducir costos, mitigar el fraude y habilitar nuevos servicios. Visite calamp.com/Crashbox para obtener más información.